Hi, everyone. So welcome to our Epic Life INFJ workshop. So INFJ Epic Life, I wanted to do another workshop because I haven't done a public workshop in I think a couple of months now. A reason for the workshop is that we start with our third boot camp this year. So boot camp, for the ones of you who don't know, is a group coaching program, and we actually made it bigger. So now there's a Facebook group. It continues long after like the 6 weeks are over. So you have lifetime access to that. You also have lifetime access to all the material we do. And, it has been growing. So we didn't have the Facebook group right from the beginning. And hold on, let me just, okay. But the Facebook group turned out to be one of the best things. But besides that, so we started that, and so the next one starts in 2 weeks, and officially it's launching next week. And if you sign up now, so we have a pre-launch phase, then you have access to the early bird price, which is $100 off. So if you've been thinking about doing it, now's the time. But for the ones of you who want to join, and also for the ones of you who say, I'm not ready for that yet. I don't feel like this is a step for me, or you might be hesitant, or whatever it is. Today, I want to give you some insight. So not just about the bootcamp and how great it is, but I want to help you, if you decide to do the bootcamp or not, how you can actually take the steps in creating your INFJ epic life. So I haven't done this in the last workshops, but I want to give you just a quick overview of what I'm about and, how I came to do this, because some of you may not know me that long. So I've been on YouTube for the last 6 years. I was in the corporate world. I was a consultant in banking and like a derivative expert. So I was going down that road, and everything seemed great on paper, but in reality, I felt completely miserable. I felt completely miserable, and I felt that I'm wasting my life. And through a lot of research, I found out that I was an INFJ, and I found this community. And you can imagine 6 years ago, this was even more of a community of poor me, and nobody understands me. I'm a special butterfly, but really from this victim narrative. And I said I have to change that, because I wanted to change my life. Hi guys, so it's good to see you. I wanted to change my life, and then I started like really implementing. So the things that I'm teaching now, I'm teaching them to my one-on-one clients. I've been teaching them to bootcamp participants, and I've been doing this because I turned my life around. So I've been doing YouTube and coaching full-time for the last 2 years now. So although I was going all that other route, I was able to quit my job. Now I live that epic life that I always wanted. And I've learned that, on the one hand, it is all mindset. There's not like a particular strategy or anything like this, because you can learn absolutely everything. There is no such thing, oh, I need to find that, that one thing that'll generate me more income, or I'll have to find this one thing that'll get me great relationships. Like, you have to think about, I was single for 8 years. I just couldn't handle reality in such a way. And so I know how it is to be an INFJ and to struggle and to feel like, well, what for? And it's all not necessary, and to be sort of like the outsider. And I learned how we as INFJs can become the hero of our own movie, the leading character. And it just comes down to a couple of things. And so, so everything that I do is always built on the 5 pillars. The 5 pillars, hi, Linda. See, Linda says, from the first time I found your videos, I chose to follow you because of your positive emphasis. Yes, for me, it was really important back then. It was to motivate me, but also to create a community. And then I saw all the potential we have as INFJs in really living this amazing life. But we didn't have any role models. As I said, most of the things we saw were either people, talking down on themselves, like, oh, okay, all those memes or whatever it is, like, we as INFJs, nobody understands us, and we want to be antisocial and so on. And I'm not here to tell you, okay, you have to pretend like you're everybody else. You can live your own life on your own terms. I still spent the majority of my life, working by myself. I'm not surrounded by people. I never had to become an extrovert. So some people say, okay, I like you talk so much and so on. First off, you have to understand I gained so much energy through the way I live my life. And the second one is, yeah, you see me for like an hour in a video or 20 minutes. You don't see what I do the rest of the day. Most of the time I am in my own world and I do my own things. But the difference is, and I think this is what we INFJs really struggle with, really struggle. I was reading the comments. What we really struggle with is to bring our ideas into reality. They keep on staying stuck, and it has a lot to do with tapping into SE, so extroverted sensing, and it has a lot to do with tapping into extroverted feeling. And it's not what most INFJs believe it is. Trust me, it's not about, okay, I need to work out. It's not about, okay, FE is creating harmony. No, it's about like deciding that you're going to be one thing, and then you keep repeating steps that make that thing bigger and bigger. And so you become this entity. And then whatever comes into your life connects through the way you see the world. It's not anymore that you're that one character for this one friend, and then you're this other character for this other friend. You become the center point. And it might be difficult in the beginning, but you'll see there is a lot of, the more you immerse yourself within this concept, the easier it gets. So like, for example, watch the videos. That's the one thing, because you have the reminder. For the ones who do one-on-one coaching or the bootcamp participants, there's this Facebook group where you're surrounded by INFJs who all want to have this goal of, we're building something for our own. I'm building up my energy. I'm getting better relationships. I'm taking care of my money, and I'm most importantly taking care of my vocation. I want to live out of purpose, out of passion. I don't want to do something just to make money or just to have status. Like, we don't care about these things. Yes, we want to be financially independent, so we have the freedom to choose what we want, but it's never at the expense of, as I said, our passion, living out our truth. I'm just going to look into the comments for a minute, just to make sure if you already have some questions. So AWM says, can you explain what you mean when you say that our TI is weak and we can't hold it very long? Yes, sure. Well, TI is our third function. So specifically, and this is something you will learn through socionics if you've been there, that our third function is our hidden agenda, so to say. It's the one thing we think we're so great at, and it's the one thing we want, but we're not as strong and in it as we think we are. So with TI, when I say we can't hold on to it, it's like if you have a person around you who lives out their truth and they do it like really passionately and like, continuously, then we tend to focus on what they think, what they want. You'll see, like, when you're around friends and you like them, you sort of start liking their music. You start thinking about, you kind of immerse yourself into their world. That is, yes, you can do this, you use this through NI and FE and all of those aspects, but holding on to TI means I know who I am. I know my own logic, and I'm not letting go of that. And even if we think, in the back of our mind, yes, I'm still in control, I'm, observing this, you will see that you'll get in situations where you feel like, okay, I went overboard. I totally forgot, because I certainly right now, I don't know what I want. Like, I always bring this, this example of you're at the movies with your friends, and then, your friends are, I want to watch this, I want to watch this. And how often we say, I don't care what we watch, whatever you want to watch. Like, we are so often not aware of our own preferences if we don't prioritize it, right? So these are some of the things. Level Drone says, is there such a thing as aggressive INFJ, not in a bad way, not as bully, just aggressive? It's a definition. I don't know. I'm sure there are aggressive INFJs, like whatever, however you want to like interpret it or say it. Like, yeah, there are mean INFJs. There are INFJs who get aggressive, as in, the bullying kind of way. And then there's assertiveness. Like, I see myself as an assertive INFJ, and I want everybody who I work with to become more assertive, and not in a way of, okay, I have to now be like, change who I am. I just want you to care more about what you want and to stand up for that, because most of the time we just don't care, we don't prioritize it, and it's really about learning that. It's a mindset thing. Okay, Maya says my wife has INFJ. You mean your wife is an INFJ? What can I do to help me understand her? Yeah, watch the videos. Okay, Trevor, I find with SE, it's all about taking the first step. Once you take the first step, a part of us knows what to do, and our FE assertiveness kicks in and suddenly easy. Okay, guys, I can't, unfortunately, like, it's great that you have those questions. Please keep going and keep getting, but I just can't read all of them, just so you know. But I want to get to this point that Trevor made. Yeah. So the reason why I developed the 5 pillars is particularly for us INFJs, there has to be the action step. And in the beginning, like, because we're so much in our head, you don't know what to do because it doesn't feel like that's going to give me energy, right? And so the way I've created the 5 pillars, by the way, if you haven't downloaded it already, you can download the free poster on it. The link is in the description. The 5 pillars are your physical energy management. So you need the kind of energy to actually pull through your relationship management, your wealth management, your vocation, so your passion, and your priority management. And what we do, and this is what I do with my clients, this is what I like with my clients, of course, it's much more on a individual basis of where they're at and what they want. But like specifically in the boot camp, what we do is we tackle each one of those areas, and we say we have a schedule, and we say with each week we add one of those pillars to our schedule. We have to have consistency, and it's in such a small way that we feel like this has become my new normal. I'm not overwhelming myself, because every single time you tap into SE and you already know, I cannot keep up with this pace for longer than, let's say, 2 weeks. You already know this will not become your new normal. It has to be such a precise, small step that, as I said, it becomes your new normal. So what I did when I was at my lowest and I wanted to improve my relationships, I was nowhere near being able to look for a romantic relationship at that point. Like, now I'm in a very happy relationship, but back then I wouldn't have had the strength for that. I wasn't strong enough at that point to really tackle my family dynamics, because I had some difficult times with my father, and how a lot of us INFJs do. But the thing, I had to decide something that I wanted to do in relationships in order to, my energy should go up. And so I said, okay, I cannot keep on isolating myself so much. I need to do something, although it doesn't feel great. It like gets me out of my comfort zone, but it doesn't overwhelm me. And what I did was I said, every Saturday or Sunday, I go and have lunch with a friend. And I remember those Saturday mornings, I woke up and I was like, okay, so now I have to get ready and I have to get out and like get lunch. That's how deprived I was. And that's how so many INFJs are, because they get into this NITI loop. They are just thinking, and it seems like, okay, I have to like get out of my cocoon, right? But I said, like, this is something I can do. And through that, I actually started gaining energy, because every single time I went and had lunch with my friends, I never did it to a point where I felt, okay, this is too much for me. It was just one lunch a week. But it gave me, like, we had laughter. I saw like there's a connection. I get appreciation, and it gave me something. Same thing with my vocation. Like, you need to work on your vocation at some point. Like, you can't, if you don't tap into your gifts, into what you want to bring into the world, you'll always feel like something is missing. And for me, starting this channel and like bringing out my gift, which is understanding, hidden hidden problems, understanding limiting blocks and helping people to overcome this. And before I started this channel, I was doing this in my personal life at my own expense. And so many INFJs do this, right? We want to help, we want to, make that happen. And so I learned that, I have to do it in a way where it's healthy, but I have to do it consistently and small steps. And it should be something where I feel I could do this for the rest of my life. It's not that I knew, okay, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. It was more like I knew this is not going to overwhelm me. And so what I did, I started recording my videos on Sundays. And I remember every single time I woke up on Sunday, there was this burden on me. Like, oh God, I have to get ready. It felt like so draining. And it's like a completely different feeling than getting up. Hi, Seniors. I'll get to the NITI loop. And it's a completely different feeling than on Monday morning when I have to get up for work. See, when we have this external structure, it's not that difficult. Like, it doesn't seem like this, right? Because we are so, like, we're playing in somebody else's energy field. We say, okay, they want you to be at work at 8 o'clock, you can do this. But getting up and doing something that is for you, that's actually tapping also into priority management, where we talk about what is important and not urgent. If you, nobody was looking at me and saying, did you record your videos? Nobody was looking at me and saying, oh, how's that doing? Nobody cared. I had to learn to care enough about myself to build something up. I had to care enough for myself to say, okay, I'm going to go for the next higher job in order to create more wealth for myself, so I have more freedom and I can actually invest into my passion, right? And so the draining part that came on Sunday morning when I got up to do the videos, it came from all those limiting beliefs that I had, and so many INFJs have, of, doing something that is for me, that's for my future. There's a block. There's something that keeps me there because it's safer. It's safer to play by the rules. It's safer to blend in. And yes, you might say, okay, we INFJs, we're different. We don't blend in. We're our own unicorn, but we're still playing along somebody else's rules. We're not taking the control and saying, I'm the lead character of my movie. I'm going to have success on my terms. And I'm not waiting for you to acknowledge me. I'm not waiting for you to see me. I'm doing that. And you have to start doing the action steps before this feeling comes, right? And that's what I had to push myself in the beginning to say, okay, I'm going to do the videos on Sundays. This was, it was getting me out of my comfort zone, but it wasn't overwhelming me. And with time, I actually developed excitement in that. I developed getting, seeing all the benefits it had, because here I can connect with people that I can honestly help in a way that is healthy for me. It's not anymore like those codependent relationships that so many of us have. I get to live out my gift, and I learn to fight for myself. So if you, for example, want to be a writer, it's not that easy to say, okay, every Sunday or every Saturday, I'm going to write 5 pages. You don't need a strategy to sit down and write 5 pages, but you don't do that. If somebody calls you and they want your help, you're there. If you need to be at work at 9 o'clock on Monday morning, you're there. But you're not standing up and doing those 5 pages a week or, on Saturday, although you know that in the long term, that will get you closer to becoming an author that you want to be. This is, of course, an example, but this is what we learn. This is what we learn in the boot camp. This is what, what we do in all of this, to learn to get that excitement that comes from the inside. If you want, go check out one of my first videos. You see that my energy is on I'm here, I'm there. You actually gain energy through that process. I have, Seniors, I didn't forget your question. I'll definitely get to that. I just want to read to you one testimonial. Like we have on just by the way, for the ones of you who came later, boot camp is officially launching next week. Now we're in the pre-launch phase. So if you tap the link below, you get access to the early bird price, so you get $100 off. So if you were thinking about joining, now is the time. And I think I have a little bit over 10 10 testimonials, I think. But you can see them on the sales page. This would be the 3rd bootcamp this year. We have a Facebook group that is active, like even outside. Like the bootcamp is over after 6 weeks, but you have access to all future bootcamp rounds. As I said, this is the 3rd. We're definitely gonna have I hope we're gonna have a 4th this year, but I think so, but not a 5th. And then next year again. And the Facebook group, it's like every week we have threads on every single of the pillars. And yeah, it's amazing. So I just want to read you one of the testimonials, for example. So this is what Lauren said. Lauren said, Wenzes INFJ bootcamp helped me upgrade in 3 major ways. 1 was experiencing growth and reflection alongside other INFJs during the calls and through the Facebook group. 2nd was vibing off of the confidence and success that Wenzes brought to the table, which really showed me it's possible to get to the other levels. And finally was the results I had in my own personal life through taking action, such a well thought out structure that the 6-week bootcamp and the 5 pillars provided. So, or here we have one from Braxton. He said, bootcamp was a life changer. My happiness increased, my wealth increased, my health improved, my relationships improved, my comeback started, and I'm winning again. Great people like you have a community here. Find yourself and win big. So this is just what I wanted to tell you. Like if you feel like I just need a little bit more of a nudge, hopefully now you have it, because I'm so enthusiastic about it, because I see how, like, I see the results in the people and I see the feedback. And so that's why I'm even more motivated, because I see, yeah, like, of course I promote this because I see that it's so worth it. I see that every single person says it's been really, really great for them and it helped them. And we continue to do this. So I'll get a little bit into the questions. Just for Xenius, the NITI loop. So NI is our first function and TI is our 3rd function. So introverted intuition and introverted thinking. And what not just INFJs, all types tend to, if we're not careful, go into a dominant territory, like 1st and 3rd loop. What like for us, it means we don't go into FE. So we don't take the step that is actually necessary to be healthy and whole. Why? Because we're so addicted to our 3rd function, our hidden agenda, remember? So we so want to hold on and create like the system that we keep on trying to understand. But like when you keep trying to understand, you don't build like who you really are. But if you say, you know, I start projecting, not projecting in a way of, okay, I project my own thing, but you start actually expressing your truth through FE, you create a completely different dynamic. There is a balance in it. It's not just understanding. It's also about sharing with the world who you are, because through that, you get new feedback. If you keep on thinking, it's like you look outside, as an outsider, you look into a system, like let's say 5 people, and you keep trying to understand them. It's a completely different like game than saying, if I express myself, then the entire dynamic of this 5 people is not there anymore. Because from that moment on, when I insert my authentic truth in it, then it's a combination of us 6. And that in itself changes the dynamic. And then you don't need to understand so much. So, and you get to create much more on your own terms, and other people actually adapt to you more, when before it was all about how can I understand them so I adapt better to them. But now it becomes, okay, they also understand more of me because I express my truth. So really what I dislike, what I don't like, all the things that we're scared of showing, maybe our strength, maybe our, you know, that we're different. And we are ready and willing to take that judgment, because most of the time when we stay in this NITI loop, it's like the safe thing. And the problem is that you just keep on going down that rabbit hole. Like you try to understand people when you shouldn't be. You know, I'm gonna give you like an extreme example just so you know what I mean. Like let's say there's a person who is in a physically abusive relationship. If they are in the NITI loop, they will always try to understand the other person. They had a rough day. They had a rough childhood. Nobody's there to help them. I'm here to help them. and you keep looking into where they're coming from, and you keep trying to understand and understand. And of course, it's not healthy for you because you're on the receiving end of it. And the other one is probably a narcissist and abusing you in all kinds of ways. And you just get smaller and you lose your energy. And I know this from experience. Like, I've never been in a physically abusive relationship, but definitely, emotionally abusive. And so many of us have. And I always felt like, well, I just gotta give them, like, the other cheek, and just have more compassion and understand them even better. And what a healthy version of us would do is, the first time they start acting like this is for us to push out and to say, like, I don't need to understand that person. That person doesn't respect me, doesn't treat me like how I would want that person to treat other people, right? I'm included in that. I'm not an outsider anymore. As I said, the one scenario is you're like always different. You're like, okay, I wouldn't allow my friend to be emotionally abusive to somebody else, to my friend, for example, but it's okay for me because I can take it. But when the moment comes where you say, no, 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 same rules apply, because I'm starting to fight for myself. In order to do that, I have to prioritize myself. You stop, you create, you express yourself. And the moment you start expressing yourself, you lose the ability to understand that person so much, because then they sort of like shut up. The good thing about the NITI loop is that you allow yourself and the others to be so open, so you understand more and more about them. But I don't need to understand more about the emotionally abusive person. It's like, what for? Now I say, it goes until here because I need to be able to express myself and live out my truth. And this doesn't have to be only in, really negative situations. Like, even with my best friend, she's an INFP, and when we were younger, we always had this like not very healthy dynamic, that I was always focused on her and she always needed that attention. And I knew everything about her. I knew her favorite type of music. This was the only thing we listened to. I knew what she likes, what she dislikes. It was all about trying to get into her head, because she was really creative and I wanted part of that mind. But then when I started living out my truth and expressing that, there isn't that connection anymore. I don't see so deeply into her soul how I used to. But the upside of this is, I know that much more about me. Like, my life becomes fuller, and I don't miss that because my life becomes so full. And now we have an amazing relationship, but it's much healthier, and it's based on, I take care of myself first, she takes care of herself first, and then we come together and have like this amazing time, right? So that's what we learn. And we also, like, it's all about getting that mindset of, I can, like, really getting excited and wanting to fight for yourself, and finding that part of you that kind of like always like stayed hidden. That, like, when you go out and you feel, well, like, I want my life to be epic, I want my life to be exciting, but you feel like there's no way this is going to happen ever. And I'm here to tell you it can. And I've seen it more than once. I've seen it with myself, and I've seen it also for us INFJs. And trust me, I'm not the norm. The way my life is set up is not that the people from my, let's call it alt life, look at me and say, oh, she has this amazing life. I don't even think I'm on their radar, but it's like everything that I want. I have, more income than before. I have great relationships. I'm in Madrid now. I live here. Like, I go back to Germany next week. I was here for a year, but I live where I want. I do what I want. I gain energy, and I get to help people, and I get to help people on my terms. And it's an amazing journey. And I believe wholeheartedly that we can live this INFJ epic life. And this is my mission in life. This is what I'm doing. And I just want to help you in every way I can. So it can be through my videos. It can be through, as I said, boot camp. It can be through masterclass, whatever it is. I just want you to get into it, because it's just amazing. And that's why I believe in it so much, because how can I not? How can I not when I see the results? in my own happiness and in, like, the happiness of so many INFJs. Okay, let me go a little bit more into the questions. Okay, Mike says, I want to do anything I can to understand her. Oh, okay. You're still talking about you wanting to understand your INFJ girlfriend. Okay. Okay, King Mark says, I agree that us INFJs must figure out what it is that we want and who it is that we want to be. Yes, but very often it doesn't work if you just contemplate it, because this is what we INFJs tend to do. We say, okay, I'm just going to sit down. I'm just going to think about it. But that's the whole problem. Right now, if you keep on thinking, first off, we get in the NITI loop and you don't get new information. You feel like, okay, I'm just going to search more, or I'm going to learn more about this person, but you still looking for more details within a box, and it's about getting out of the box. And in order for us to get out of the box and create something new, we have to do things we've never done before. We have to create a dynamic in our life that we've never had before, because through that we get new information, and then we can create even like more abundance. And so that's why the 5 pillars are so so beneficial, because in the beginning we don't know what steps to take, but it's like, okay, let's work on these things. Nobody's going to tell you it's a bad thing to work on your physical energy, on your energy management. So the more energy you have, you actually can do things. Nobody's going to tell you it's something bad to figure out what your passion is and to actively do the steps, and to stop saying nobody's going to understand me, it's so far out of the norm. Well, have you actually put it into action? Have you, worked on it, like, put it out there for a year and gotten 100 rejections? Because that's what I do. Like, you have to understand 1%, buys my boot camp of like 10,000 people. No, we're like 12,500 subscribers. 1% is a normal rate. 1%, are my coaching clients. Then we have boot camp. This is a lot of people, but like in the beginning, it's really, really small. Also, like I looked at my newsletter subscribers. I had in June 2016, so I've been doing this for 2 years, I had 11 subscribers to my newsletter in 1 month. Now I have like more than that in a day. Okay, but these things, they don't happen because I'm looking for validation. They're happening because I said, I will do this even if this will never bring me any success, but I'm not stopping it, because this is like my way of giving back. I'm living out my passion, and I want this in order to create more happiness for my life. If you go this way, then you don't look at, do they like it? Do people think I'm way too far out? I'm too different. This is like too weird. You don't care about that. You care about expressing and living out and sharing your truth, because at least one person was helped by this, and this is me. So if I'm being helped by this, then there's definitely somebody else. And if there's one more person, there are even more than that. It doesn't matter where you start and how you started. It doesn't even have to be like your profession, what your vocation is. But you take on, you start doing those steps, and you see how this energizes you like you never thought possible. And like, I've made the experience, or I've learned that we need to take the action first before we create that emotion that makes us keep on going, right? It's something, you build a momentum and you create a new normal through like doing those things like over and over again, and saying, I'm not looking for the result. I'm looking to become a person for whom this is normal. It's like saying, if you're applying for jobs and you're like, oh, are they going to take me? Are they going to take me? You're focusing on the wrong thing. The thing you should be focusing on, did I send off that application? Did I send off 10 applications this week or this month or whatever it is? And when you did, it's a success. And that's how you get into a growth mindset as an INFJ. And through that, you just gain so much energy. You become so much more yourself. And people are drawn to you much more than before, but completely different people. Like before, I thought like, oh, okay, people like me, but it was people who didn't understand my soul. How could they when I was always hiding it, when I wasn't showing it? So of course I attracted people who liked the facade I was putting on, and the fact that a lot of us INFJs, we're like this canvas that people can project on what they want. That's a lot of our NI. And so, of course, a lot of people like come to us, but the moment you start expressing yourself authentically, what happens? You actually, a lot of people start judging you for the first time and see like, oh, okay, she's not like as cool, or he's not as great as I thought. They're kind of like weird. And then they like, go their own way. But because you express yourself, you attract the right people. You attract people who really give you energy, who really appreciate your energy, and you keep on growing. Okay, Esma says it's a bit like working out. It's exhausting in the moment, but afterwards you feel good, and in the long run it gives you energy. Yes, yes, it is like this, but also with working out. Like if I start working out and I go to a class or something and it exhausts me so much, I don't feel like going again. Like most of the time. Like if I do it in a way where it pushes me, it gets me excited, but like afterwards I still feel good. I don't feel like I'm much more likely to keep doing it again. And what we do is to find that balance of, do something where you don't even recognize that you're pushing yourself so much. Like one of the things we talk about is in physical energy management is our sleep management, because so many of us don't sleep, our 8 hours or whatever it is that we need. It's different for every person, but a lot of us like really don't get enough sleep and not great sleep. And if you're somebody who always goes to bed at 2:00 and you get up at 6 or 7 and you go to bed because of FOMO, and you just can't seem to get out of that loop, but you already know this is draining me. Like I can't have excess energy to do something for my life when all my energy goes into going to work, doing the necessities, doing some chores, and then I'm done. I want to have more energy. Then we work on the sleeping pattern and we say, okay, let's change that and put it into our schedule. But the last thing I'm going to tell you is, okay, tomorrow you start going to bed at 10. This is ridiculous and it's never going to work. Like even if you discipline yourself so much, the discrepancy between what is normal and what you're doing is so big that you're going to snap back. That's the same thing with diets. Like if you go too hardcore, you don't change your lifestyle in a way that is, like in tune with who you are, you're going to bounce back, because like mentally it's like too much of a challenge. Same thing with working out. You overdo it, it's not just that your muscles are like this, it's like mentally you feel like I'm not suffering. Like my life is hard enough. I'm not putting this on me even more. So what we do with sleep is like we say, okay, for this week, your assignment is to try to go to bed at 1:30. 1:30. And you might think, okay, but 1:30 isn't really going to change my life. It's still very late. It doesn't matter. It's about you becoming a person who's able to change that loop. It's about you becoming a person who can, make a new time your new normal. Because once you're able to do 2 to 1:30, and 1:30 feels like your new normal, you don't feel like you're disciplining yourself. Like when I brush my teeth in the morning, it's not like I feel like, oh, this is so hard. It's part of our routine. And once you get to like 1:30, it's my new normal. It's not difficult, then it goes like 1. And then and before you know it, you're like at a good time. You go to bed at like 11 where you feel like, okay, now I'll get enough sleep. I feel like energized when I wake up. I'm excited about the day. And you don't even know how it happened. You never, ever had to work against yourself. And this is how we do it with everything, with our relationships, with our wealth management. So we learn how to, specifically for us INFJs, to actually look at money and not say, oh, that's a bad thing because I'm an INFJ. idealist. I don't want to be like those people who just care about money for money's sake. I don't either. Nobody of us is like this. We don't come from a perspective of, money is a great thing. But as long as we look at money as something bad, as not something that gives us opportunities to help in the world, that gives us opportunities to grow in our abundance, as long as we don't create a positive association with money as if money was our best friend, we're always going to have a problem with it. It's like the people who think the most about money are the people who don't have any. But if you have enough and you grow and you create a positive relationship to that, you actually see, okay, my life looks more and more how my dream is. And through that, I actually am a better friend. I can add to the world better. I live in a way where it's all my dream. I don't have to make compromises, less and less. And these are the things we learn, and we do this by it's really mindset work. And we get to that, and very often, as I said, for us INFJs, it's important to take steps. So saying, okay, so my task for mindset, money mindset, or wealth management is to think about why I like money. It's not enough. What would be enough is to say, okay, I want to, I intend to have a better job, which allows me to live in a better neighborhood where I feel safe. So my task or my assignment that I set for myself, because remember, it's an epic life on your terms, not my terms, your terms. You decide that. And if you set my assignment that I set for myself for this week is that on Saturday, I'm going to write and send out an application for a job that pays better. You might say, okay, but that's only 20% better. It's not really going to get me somewhere. Yeah, that's not it doesn't have to be. Remember, we want you to become a person who can take control of that, of the next step. Once you're able to love yourself enough to say, I'm going to discipline myself in a way where, remember, it challenges me, but it doesn't overwhelm me. And I write those applications. And it's not so much about getting that job. It's about saying that I'm writing and sending off that application. I'm taking control of what I can control. You see that it's not outside of your control. You see how much power you actually do have. And through that, amazing things happen. And then you say, okay, if you start consistently sending out resumes, you're going to get better. You're going to find a job. You're going to find something that is better than right now. But most of the time, if we don't actively work on, stepping forward and doing it in a way where we have the energy to do it, because we all know, it's like, yeah, this would be great. But, we all know, okay, I would get in great shape if I work out all the time. We don't do it because the energy is missing. And the way I have set up the 5-pillar system and how we do it in the bootcamp, and as I said, we also do that when the bootcamp is over in the Facebook group, which is continuously happening. By the way, if you join now, so even before we start with the live calls in 2 weeks, you get access to the Facebook group right away. And we are constantly, we have 5 community threads plus people writing whatever they want to say about that topic. So we're constantly writing and encouraging each other. So you stay in the room, right? You're there. You get really, when you're in the room, you get the energy, and it's all helping you to take more control of this. And so, yeah, that's why I'm such an advocate for it. And I see okay, of course, how can I not want to share this? It's, it changed my life and it changed the life of so many people. So I cannot not love it. Okay, hold on. Okay, let me see. It jumped. Hold on. Oh, I lost so much. It jumped so much. Hold on. Okay. So Arathi says, I feel I should be honest always, but sometimes it becomes somewhat rude towards people. Even people are going away from me. Should I go on with doing what I think is right, or should I analyze myself? Watch the video I had recently that was on too sensitive or constructive criticism. My point is that on some point you have to say it has to be me. Like, not me, like I'm the bad guy, but at some point I have to say, I have to put myself first. Yes, you might be rude in some situations. Yes, you might go overboard. But people who are really like this, like I mean, like the aggressive, the narcissist, the people who only care about themselves, they would never ask questions like you. You know, the fact that you're asking this is already saying I'm always, second guessing myself, right? Or I'm saying this. Yes, so you're rude from time to time. You'll learn from this. You can apologize and then balance it out. But if you don't go into a direction of, this is important to me, you'll never find that balance. And most of the time, people react like this when you first start like being assertive, because they're so used to that old version of you, which was so much more comfortable for them. They could get everything they want. If you're in a friendship where you always watch what your friend wants to watch, or you always like go into these things, yeah, they're gonna be upset and think like you're rude once you start acting like about what you want. But at some point they'll get used to it. And every single new person that you meet, they will see, okay, that's a person who likes this kind of music. Okay, do I like this? Yeah, so let me hang out with them and we can listen to music together. Or they feel like, oh, this is not me at all, or whatever it is. But like, step into this, step into your authentic self. The rudeness comes from just like limiting beliefs. It cannot, like, you're not assuming, you're not saying to the other person, I think your shirt sucks. Like, that's not your authentic truth. Telling you what you don't like about the other person, but like being like this, like so many of us hold ourselves back and dim our light. We don't want to show our authentic strength because we feel like, oh, then that person next to me will feel really bad about themselves because I'm taking charge of myself, of my life, and they cannot. That kind of behavior. And what does our mind say? It says, oh, it would be so rude of me to, appreciate this and do what I want. And like, so often I was like, I can't really celebrate myself because then the people around me will feel bad about their situation. But you're not helping them. You're actually enabling them to stay in this situation, because people are not listening to what you say. People are listening to what you do. And if you show up and you're in your authentic self and you start loving yourself and you're appreciative and you celebrate yourself, that person will learn that, when the first shock is over, because it hits like some kind of parts in them, it's like, okay, so she or he, they live out this exciting life, and it hits them because they felt like they cannot do this. So they are confronted with this pain, but you're not causing this pain. What you're just doing is that your truth is a reflection of what they don't allow for themselves. But once they actually, get confronted with this, and they get to decide. For some people, they are not there. They don't want to do this. So what do? They don't even look at you. They just go away and go their own way. For the people who are strong enough, they stay in this feeling, they overcome it, and then they step up for themselves. They say, if that person can do it, I can do it for myself too. And it will look completely different than the steps you're taking, but it will be their authentic next step. Right? So yeah, that's what I have to say about this. And this is something we tackle in relationship management all the time. Okay, Nayeli says, how improving our self-esteem works for INFJ. Well, this is the whole thing. Self-confidence, self-esteem, all of those things. This is the truth. So this is something that I know for sure. Self-esteem comes from the promises that we make and keep to ourselves. But like I said, a little bit wrong. But the thing is this, if I tell myself, you're going to write 5 pages of your book today, and I do that, then my self-confidence grows, because my self-confidence comes from the fact that I promised myself I'll do those 5 pages, and I did them. Self-confidence isn't about, are they going to like me? Self-confidence comes from the fact that even if they don't, it doesn't matter. I will be fine. And how will you be fine? Like, what has to happen so you are proud of yourself? You will be proud of yourself when you keep the promises you make to yourself. That's why if you go to bed at 2 o'clock and you say, I want to go to bed at 10, and you keep disappointing yourself because after 3 days, you're back to your old normal routine, where is that self-esteem coming from? Of course you're going to look from the outside because you're not giving it to yourself. You're not proud of yourself. But when you do the things that like say, okay, I'm going to like commit to 1:30 because I can do this. Half an hour, okay. That's okay. You learn those little steps. And before you know it, you actually get up on Saturday and you write those 5 pages. And trust me, you are going to have like self-esteem afterwards because I'm a badass. I'm doing what I want. And I'm not just saying it or thinking it, I'm really pulling it through. I don't care about people's opinions so much less. Like, I don't think that any of us will ever be completely free of it. It's totally normal. There's, we're interdependent beings, but you cannot imagine how much self-esteem and how much I actually give to myself. And this gives you so much freedom. And this is what I want us INFJs to learn. This is what my message was. You can watch my first video from 6 years ago. It was like, we got to learn to be proud of ourselves, and not just for, being, which is, important in itself, to understand I'm not going to be a better person just because I'm more productive. I'm not going to be a better person because I keep the promises I make to myself. I'm just as valid and worthy if I don't do anything, or if I do. These kind of things we learn too. But the thing that really builds self-esteem, it's from taking charge of what you can take charge and making that happen. And then you're like, I don't care if that person thinks I'm uncool. I know I am. And it can be for different things. For me, it was really about not being kind and not being generous. And I was thinking, well, I'm doing so much for other people, but it was always in a codependent thing. It was like, okay, I'm doing so much for you, so now you have to like me. Doing so much for you so I can, live off your energy and enjoy your creativity. And so when I met somebody who continuously made me feel like, you're not giving at all, it's like, it was really, really hard for me. It was really hard, and it hurt me like hell because I was addicted to that person's opinion on me being a good person. So how did I become and learn to see myself as a good person? I started doing things that made me feel like, okay, I'm doing in a way where it doesn't crush my soul. I can still give and I feel good about it. So I started this channel. This was something where it doesn't I was safe. I did it in a healthy setting. And I started to give, and I saw that that was my way of giving, of sharing my gift. Very often it's like we have this gift. It can be singing. It can be, your way of acting, whatever it is. And we don't share it with the world. You're the gift. You're the gift to the world. And we don't share that. And the moment you start sharing and you see that you as yourself, your energy has such a positive impact on others, you see, well, I am a good person because I'm doing the things that make me believe I'm a good person. It's not because X and Y say it. They can think I'm totally selfish. I don't care. I know why I'm doing this. I know my intentions, right? And so this is that has a lot to do with self-esteem. And the 5 pillars, all of them help you to build self-esteem in each one of them. And with every step, you have more energy. You can take on a bigger step. You expand your world and you create this epic life. Now it seems so normal to me. And I remember when I was still working and thinking okay, so that's an opportunity to live like this. It felt like something completely different. And I'm not saying the only way to live like this is if you have your own business and you don't have a job. Not at all. It's about just finding the right balance for you. And very often it's about doing those things parallelly. So I was doing the channel, which was my vocation and my passion, for 4 years while I was working. And as I said, I thought, okay, maybe in 10, 15 years I can live on this. I didn't do this as like my way out. I did it because, as I said, it made me feel like, okay, that's my way of giving back. That's my way of sharing myself with the world, of, connecting with the world through me. And I really changed my whole mindset from my life doesn't matter. I'm just like this little thing, and everything, like, if I die, like, nobody's going to care. And, I got to a point where I said, okay, I cannot continue doing this because I'm just not happy. And I just have to change my mindset. And then I changed it to, I'm part of creation. I'm part of this universe. I'm part of life. And no matter what happens, I want to contribute. I want to make the world a better place. So I had to first, like, get from this dependency with other people into like this independent state, and from that create a healthy interdependent. I'm part of the world, or you're part of your community, or part of what you believe in, and you can create this. Like, I created my community in a way, like it didn't exist anything like this at the time, but it doesn't have to be like that big. You can just contribute to something. And yeah, like you just start seeing the world differently, and you start to get like a lot of happy moments through that. Okay. Okay, Esma says, I do not have such a big problem with not understanding people, but I can't stand disharmony. I go way too far to keep people peaceful and happy towards me. I've been there exactly. I'm a type 9 in the Enneagram, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Here's the solution to that. You have to create some disharmony in order to create long-term harmony. If you always, create harmony at first glance, you're always going to make sacrifices. And at some point, you're going to snap. At some point, you're going to do like, you're going to, do the door slam, or you're going to be mean, or you're going to, like always feel like you're holding yourself back. You can't even share like really intimate moments with friends or family members or whatever it is, because there's always this part of you that needs to control it, because you're not showing those parts that would create this harmony, because you want to create everything like this, calm. But because you don't show those parts of this harmony, like what happens, like, that person will never know you. And you always hiding something, because they, it's dangerous. They can't like really see that. But once you show those parts of you that create this harmony, that person really sees you for the first time, and they get to adapt. And then of course it will create this harmony in the beginning, because they've been used to getting always what they want. It's not like their fault or anything. It's just like, what's going on now? But once they see that you're somebody who from the beginning, from the jump, says, this is my truth, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm about, you don't create this harmony, because, you've created this new part of you that is always more assertive and more of who you are. So through that, you actually they actually see you for the first time. They see that, okay, so if I want to be in his life or in her life, I gotta adapt that other person. And some people say, no, I don't want to. Most of the time people do, and they do it, and I never thought they would, but they really do, because it happens on such an automatic level. It's like, just I show my boundaries, that person knows this, and then it's okay. Like, some people don't want to be, we're all so different. There are so many different things that make us comfortable and uncomfortable. And unless we show these parts that are going to create this harmony in the beginning, that person cannot adapt their behavior. So it's always like that person can do whatever they want, and you adapt in order to create harmony. But if you're like, if there's a part